Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide. Welcome to this week's navigation task. This week, using the Harveys map, it's the Super Walker 1 to 25,000 of the Peak District, and I've got a licensing agreement with Harveys to use their map. The photograph is here, and you can see I want you to identify these three features plus this feature here. So what can we see? Well, we're on obvious high ground looking steeply down, and we've got this stream in the valley bottom here, and it's running or draining left to right as we look, so draining from the high ground up here, coming down and then draining off to the right. We've got distinctive crags up here, and we can see that the actual stream disappears in quite a steep ravine away up there onto the high ground. To our left, we've got some steep rocky ground dropping down there. I've actually zoomed in a little bit for you on the next photo so you can see these in more detail. So let's start with these three features here. What do they look like? Well, they look like large boulders, and they are large boulders, and the key on the Harvey map for a large boulder is a black dot. So we're looking for black dots, and we're looking from high ground down to the valley bottom and looking for boulders on the other side. So where could we be on the map? Well, realistically, we've got to be on this south side of Grinds Brook, because Grinds Brook is draining from left to right as we look, and the photograph was the stream was draining left to right. So we've got to be somewhere on this edge, I would suggest, looking down and up the other side. Here we've got the steepening where the stream comes off the plateau, and we've got these crags here, look. So what about those three boulders? Can we see those? We've got boulders all over here, these dots, these dots. So let's have a little look. So if we look from right to left, this one first, we see it's just, we've got a path going along here, so it's beyond the path, and it's quite close to this steep gully or stream coming down there off the plateau. So would we be able to identify that one? So looking down and across, here's the path on the edge of the plateau, there's a steep stream coming down, and there just offset slightly to the north is the first boulder, and then the next one looks like it's on this side of the path, and then the next one is just on the apex of the path there at the top of this spur running down with a crag just below. So can we see that? So that'll be the second one, and then here look, the third boulder at the head of that spur going down. So that wasn't too difficult. What about identifying this feature here? So what are we looking for? Well, it looks like a re-entrant or a gully. There's definitely some high ground here, and then it drops away, and then some high ground here. So can we see that on the map? Well, looking here, we can see there's kinks in the contours, so could we be looking at that gully there? Some people have suggested we might be looking at that one. Let me just zoom in a little bit for you there. Let's see if we can see it in a bit more detail. So some people suggest it might be this re-entrant here with the kink in the contours. So if it was this one here, we'd expect to see another bigger one just further north towards the narrowing of the ravine or the head of the clough. So let's have a look. Well, if we look at the clough and we come back towards us from north to south, we can come along and we can see that this one circled is actually the first re-entrant that we come to. So although it doesn't look too much like it's got a stream in it, if we just think of the shape of the ground, it's got to be this one, because otherwise there'd be another one up here with a stream in it. So it's got to be this one, even though we can't see the stream. It's the first re-entrant as we come back from here. So that caught a few people out. So that was the feature we're looking for. What about the location of the photograph? Well, some people have suggested it's taken from here, with these crags just to the left, looking up. That was the first conclusion you might jump to, but we need to look a little bit more closely, and we should be able to work things out. So first of all, if we look down and across, we're looking straight up this stream bed, and at this point it kinks off to the right. See that kink to the right there? And then the second thing to think of, as we look into this stream bed, we're looking over the foot of this spur. So we're looking across this bit of land with the spur coming down to the left. We'd actually have to cross over this to get to this. So let's have a look. First of all, we're looking for a kink, and again I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if we were at this point here looking across, we wouldn't really see that defined kink because we'd be looking much closer to that angle there. Let me just put a line on the map to demonstrate that. So there, if we're looking from there over, then that kink isn't very pronounced at all, is it? It doesn't kink very much to the right as we look. So that's something to be aware of. And the other thing is, if we were looking up the middle part of the clough, we don't cross very much of this spur, the foot of this spur. So that's the other thing that might change our mind slightly. Whereas if we were over here, looking across up that stream bed, we'd cross much more of the toe of this spur, and that higher reach, or the higher part of that stream, would kink much more pronounced, a much more pronounced kink to the right in there as we looked. So the photo location was there. So those are your answers this week. The 3 boulders, not too difficult. The re-entrant, although we couldn't see the stream in it, that was a little bit more tricky. And then the photo location there, looking over there. So I hope you got that one right or found it interesting as ever. Thanks for watching. Look out for next week's navigation task. Bye for now.